Chapter 1. Introductions. A day in Crestwood. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the picturesque town of Crestwood. The streets were lined with charming brick houses, each adorned with well-tended flower beds and pristine white picket fences. The towering oak and maple trees lining the sidewalks swayed gently in the morning breeze, their leaves an explosion of reds and yellows that signaled the arrival of autumn. In the quaint neighborhood of Maple Street, the sound of birdsong filled the air, creating a symphony that accompanied the gradual awakening of the town. Samantha. Sam. Rodriguez, a spirited 15-year-old, burst out the front door of her house, her dark hair pulled back into a tight ponytail. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, and her heart raced with anticipation. She was a girl of medium height, with olive skin and expressive brown eyes that seemed to absorb every detail of the world around her. Her favorite faded jeans and a red hoodie completed her ensemble, perfect for the day of adventure she had planned with her best friend. As she stepped onto the sidewalk, she spotted Luke Park waiting for her on the corner. Luke was an adventurous 16-year-old, always eager to explore the world around him. He had a mop of shaggy brown hair that perpetually hung in his eyes, and his lanky frame towered over Sam's shorter stature. Despite their differences in appearance, their friendship had bloomed from a shared love for adventure and an insatiable curiosity that often led them to explore the hidden corners of Crestwood. As Sam reached Luke, they exchanged knowing grins, their excitement for the day ahead palpable. It was a Saturday, and the duo had planned a day of exploration in the forest that bordered their town. Crestwood was surrounded by a vast expanse of woodland, its depths whispered about in hushed tones by the townspeople, who believed the woods held secrets better left undisturbed. Sam and Luke, however, were undaunted by the tales of ghostly apparitions and strange noises emanating from the forest. To them, the woods represented an uncharted world, ripe for discovery. They had spent the previous evening poring over maps and strategizing the best route for their expedition. As they walked towards the edge of town, they talked animatedly about the legends surrounding the woods, their voices filled with anticipation. The sun climbed higher in the sky, and the streets of Crestwood began to bustle with activity. Shopkeepers opened their doors, and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted from the town's bakery. In the midst of this idyllic setting, Sam and Luke couldn't help but feel drawn to uncover the truth behind the eerie stories that circulated amongst the townspeople. Into the unknown. Sam and Luke trekked deeper into the woods, their backpacks filled with essentials for their day-long adventure. The dense foliage overhead formed a canopy that dappled sunlight onto the forest floor. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the unmistakable scent of decaying leaves, damp earth, and the faintest hint of wood smoke from distant chimneys. The friends navigated the forest with ease, their footsteps muffled by a thick carpet of fallen leaves. They followed a barely visible trail, marking their progress with bright orange ribbons tied around tree branches. This would ensure they could find their way back home once the sun began to set. With every step, they were drawn deeper into the embrace of the woods, captivated by the beauty of their surroundings. As they ventured further, they noticed the forest growing denser and more oppressive. The once vibrant colors of autumn appeared muted and dull, as though the very essence of life was slowly draining from the woods. The eerie atmosphere seemed to linger in the air, as if the trees themselves were guarding ancient secrets. They stopped for a moment to rest, finding a fallen log to sit upon. As they sipped from their canteens and shared a packet of trail mix, they couldn't help but discuss the strange feeling that seemed to envelop the forest. The branches above creaked and groaned in the wind, and the rustling of leaves seemed to whisper hidden messages. Sam and Luke continued their journey, determined to uncover the mysteries that the woods held. The forest seemed to be growing darker, the sun's rays struggling to pierce the thickening canopy above. The friends found themselves on edge, their senses heightened as they navigated the increasingly treacherous terrain. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves sent shivers down their spines, as if the forest itself were warning them to turn back. Despite their growing unease, they pressed on, their curiosity driving them forward. It wasn't long before they stumbled upon a small, murky pond. The surface was still, like a mirror reflecting the twisted branches of the trees above. A sense of foreboding hung in the air, and Sam shuddered involuntarily, feeling a sudden drop in temperature. She glanced at Luke, who seemed equally unnerved. "Feels kind of creepy, doesn't it?" Luke whispered, his voice barely audible above the rustling of leaves. "Yeah," Sam agreed, her gaze scanning the pond's dark waters. "Let's keep moving." The abandoned cabin. They continued on their path, the forest growing denser and more oppressive with each passing minute. The twisted, gnarled trees seemed to reach out towards them, their branches casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. The air grew colder, and an inexplicable sense of dread washed over them. Despite their fear, their desire to uncover the cabin's secrets propelled them forward. As they cautiously approached the cabin, they noticed that the undergrowth surrounding the structure seemed to be wilted and dying, as if the very presence of the cabin was draining the life from the surrounding vegetation. A thick layer of moss covered the rotting wood, and the roof sagged under the weight of years of decay. The shattered windows gazed out like empty eye sockets, adding to the sinister aura of the place. The friends exchanged a glance, curiosity mixed with trepidation in their eyes. They had heard stories of an old cabin in the woods, but they had dismissed them as mere rumors. Now, confronted with the structure, they couldn't help but feel drawn to explore it. With a nod, they decided to press forward, eager to discover what lay within. As they reached the cabin's door, which hung precariously on its hinges, they hesitated for a moment before pushing it open. The door creaked loudly, the sound echoing through the stillness of the woods. The interior was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the weak rays of sunlight filtering through the broken windows. Dust and cobwebs coated every surface, and the remnants of broken furniture lay scattered on the floor. As they stepped inside, the floorboards creaked ominously beneath their feet. The atmosphere was suffocating, and the darkness seemed to close in around them. They carefully explored the cabin, their flashlights revealing glimpses of a life long abandoned. An overturned table, the remains of a fireplace, and a tattered, moth-eaten rug painted a picture of a home that had been hastily deserted. And then, just as they were beginning to adjust to the cabin's unsettling atmosphere, they heard it. A faint, ghostly whisper that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The sound sent a shiver down their spines, and they froze in place, their flashlights casting wild shadows on the walls as their hands trembled. Sam and Luke exchanged fearful glances, the reality of the situation sinking in. They were standing in a haunted cabin, miles from the safety of Crestwood, with an unknown presence lurking in the shadows. The thrill of adventure was quickly replaced with a chilling fear that clawed at their minds, urging them to flee. Yet, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of uncovering something extraordinary, a secret that had been hidden for generations. Swallowing their fear, they resolved to press on, their curiosity driving them deeper into the heart of the darkness that awaited them. Thank you for listening to Chapter 1 of The Secret of the Haunted Woods. Please subscribe so you can be sure to catch Chapter 2 coming soon.